name is Miss Greenleaf. I'm from Cedar Valley,
Miss
Cedar
Greeley.
Valley Division.
Okay. We're here.
The contractor them don't interact with the community who live in the community. And if you say a thing wrong and that tell them, then don't listen to you. Because in Cedar Valley we are a water here. And the drain them, they don't use the whole drain them. They only make the sidewalk. Below the Cedar Valley Primary School, there are 3 culverts, and the 3 are blocked. They don't open them. And
Road. What no good service.
Them a fix it again.
What could they do to the road? The road no look good none at all, man. All bought.
The pan is coming in.
They never fix it. Them say them use some material where the marley wasn't good. So the Prime Minister come and tour the place today.
Okay.
So we're going to fix it again.
All right.
Understand? It's like when we're back to square one again. That's
Yes,
true.
look how much material plus time, everything.
Yeah.
The South Coast Road Improvement Project is arguably the largest road infrastructure project undertaken by the government of Jamaica. Also, you calibrate the machine for every time you use it, you go out on the road. It's interesting. I didn't realize that. So you actually do tests. So
Welcome back each and everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all doing great. Hope you all doing well. On know the dose just today do. In this video we're gonna show the Prime Minister touring St. Thomas. So he's gonna start from out of Pamphret, he's gonna go Roselle, and then he's gonna go around Amity Hall, run by eastern side of St. Thomas. Okay, my viewers? So he might go address all the problem pertaining to the road improvement, the road construction work that's going on in St. Thomas. And you know the road are flake up all about. So in order for you to see and all those questions that you have in your mind that lingering and you know like Wagwana St. Thomas, watch the video, listen to what the Prime Minister have to say. He might go address everything. Okay, my viewers? He might go address, as me say, everything. So in order for you to see and hear, just watch the video to the end. You don't know what to do, so just do the do. As you see my board for highlight from him vehicle, I don't have much to say. Him have it all to say. So take it away, Mr. Prime Minister. And I bet you know my viewers don't know, so there will be a new road bypass road that will cut from St. Thomas to Portland. And you don't know that, watch the video, listen to what the Prime Minister have to say. Okay? Bless up, hope you all enjoy it.
How long the person is it?
Makala.
Good morning. I thought you were leaving.
How are you, sir? See you. How are things in your area?
Oh, camera.
16%. Excellent. Yes, and I suspect with the road you might have more reckless and careless driving on the roads.
We have embarked on a campaign to educate the users of the road, to use the road properly, to stop the speeding, contain yourself and to your side of the road. We are looking for a reduction as we speak.
The objective of the police force in the community is to save lives. That's the prime objective.
Definitely.
And then of course to protect property. So we're not only looking at murders, which is the ultimate use of violence.
And that is why the breaking is a problem.
But we look at things like road traffic. You also look at public health. You look at almost everything in order to save life. But I'm very happy to hear that you are 16% down in this area. Which police division is this?
St. Thomas.
This is the St. Thomas.
This
The entire parish.
Dallas police station. But the entire parish of St. Thomas, we have a 16%.
16% reduction. St. Thomas has not been a high crime area, but to have a 16% reduction is significant.
Thank you, sir.
It's significant and it's very, very good work. Are you finding increased urbanization in the area?
Yes, one I think we face with is that since the start of the year, we have apprehended 12 wanted persons in our space. These are persons who are coming in from the crisis where we have more urgent activities.
So there's displacement, and they're coming. They're coming here.
But our residents, thanks to them, they have always supported us and they support the police, so they assist us in locating this person and apprehend them and take them to the community.
But in terms of more business activities, people setting up more businesses, and that carries with it its own policing challenges as the nature of the area changes. But it seems that you're up to the task. Very good work.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Very good.
I think this is sure, yes.
Very good. So tell us what the radar was.
Well, you're not
How far would you have to
mile on a street.
You can pick up as far as a mile on a straight road, and it's fairly accurate. And how have you tested it? I mean,
Yes, we have to use it and so on.
also you calibrate the machine for every time you use it, you go out on the road. Okay, interesting. I didn't realize that. So you actually do tests. So are you seeing? Well, superintendent was telling me that a part of our operational focus is on ensuring road traffic safety, but you're seeing an increase in the number of road traffic accidents. At various locations. Motorcyclists are very. Okay. I saw something in the papers yesterday where a crocodile was killed. There was a motor vehicle accident, and what's happening there?
It is an area where reptiles from time to time.
Yes.
It is a very location.
I'm wondering if we have to do something in that area to prevent, because that's a known crossing. That's a known crossing area for the crocodile. That we might have to put up some fencing there. Yeah. Well, listen, keep up the good work. Very good. Very good.
We want to look at the area of the brand, just to show you what the progress contractors made here. Significant progress has gone. Sorry,
go on, brother.
Hi dear, how are you?
Yeah, man.
Good morning, everyone. And my apologies for the very hot sun. Last year. Good. Oh God. All right. Big man. Bigger man. Of course.
Good morning, Mr. Prime Minister. So as you can see here, we have moving the bad material that we encounter below me. Going down to about 700 millimeters right now, and this is the top of the subgrade. So just for your information, if the embankment is fine, but we found that there are some materials that have been contaminated due to simultaneous works happening between waterline works and so on. So it might have contaminated the base and is not in such a good condition, which caused the failure. So we're removing all of this. It's proposed that in our first assessment, we came up with like 1.6 kilometer, which we're promising to do. And China Harbour is here to execute all of it. I'll allow Chris Henry from China Harbour to give you the more details.
Okay.
All right, so following on from what Mrs. Russell said, we would have picked up most of these defects in our previous routine inspections. They would have presented as cracks previously, but subsequent to burial, they opened up and came what we saw here. So the instructions were given to China Harbour's construction team to repair all of these. But the issue was we were on a rigorous timeline in tranche 3, that's from Morant Bay to Portland. So the construction team, especially the urban team, they weren't able to be diverted. So we committed to this Pamphret section, C4 as MP Robertson said, and this one here as a feeder bus. So that's where we are in the process. And
So, when I was listening to
we committed to this Pamphret section, C4 as MP Robertson said, and this one here as a feeder bus. So that's where we are in the process.
So, when I was listening to explanations, the note was made that some of the materials used would have been below standard, even though the quarry from which it came was certified. Explain how that could happen, that a certified quarry, you could have material that is substandard.
Well, what may happen is that the vein of material that we would have.
So you use a technical term, vein. So explain to the public so that there's a section.
A section of
Yes.
the quarry.
So you go through and
Right.
you do random sampling in the quarry.
Routine sample.
Random routine sampling. And you will say, all right, we did this section and the material here is up to grade. We did that section, the material is up to grade. But not all material in the certified quarry would be up to grade. And therefore there is always this residual risk that you could take material that is not up to grade, which is why you do the road tests themselves.
Right. And we do those routine.
And your road tests showed up that there was some material failure. But from your suggestions, from your report, the material failure wasn't all about the material itself, but the mixing of other materials as a result of the laying of pipes. So in other words, dirt may have got mixed in with the marl, and when water gets into it, the dirt would be totally eroded, and maybe some of them are leaving spaces which, when driven on and compressed, would crack.
Mr. Prime Minister, we could have stayed home.
So the public needs to understand what has happened. The other issue that I think the public should also appreciate is that this is a massive project. I don't think we have ever done a project like this. It's a very complicated project. It's complicated because it is not a greenfield project. And greenfield projects are simple. You don't have to have issues with dealing with the public using the infrastructure while you're building. You can determine where you're going to build. You have greater latitude. So you can look at areas and say, you know what, I wouldn't build here because of the level of protection and reinforcement, and therefore I can choose my alignment. When you're building on an existing alignment, you have no choice but to build on the alignment established. Now, from day one, we know that this is not the best alignment, because even the road that was here before suffered the same fate. The water table here is very high. It's very in proximity to the sea.
And the swamp.
And the swamp. So you're going to have issues with the road. Now, from a climate change perspective, we've always said we have to move our roads inland. Given the nature of what was here before, the communities that existed along the commerce that exists in the area, we took a strategic decision that as much as we can go inland, we would, which we have done. As much as we can change the alignments we have, and what we can't, we would build on and reinforce. So I wish to assure the public that yes, we are disappointed, that make excuses for poor performance, poor quality work. And ultimately, doing it once is the most ideal situation. So the investment in quality control is to ensure that we measure twice and cut once. That is what quality control is about. On this project, I am certain that there is a high level of quality control. And as Varden has pointed out, We certify, we test the material that comes from the various quarries. We test the road for compaction. I know the NWA has equipment that tests the asphalt that is laid, and constantly the contractors are held to account. But even with the best systems, you will pick up some of these failures. The real test of the system is that it actually picks up the failures and corrects them. That's the real test of the system. Clearly, we don't want failures. Clearly, we don't want rework. But were it to happen, the public is assured that it will be corrected.
Go on, brother.
Get the thingy on the side, take go all the way up and pick up the entire road. Yes, you know.
No good service.
Them a fix it again.
Look what they do to the road. The road no look good none at all, man. All bought.
The pan is coming in. They never fix it. Them so them use some material where the marley wasn't good. So the Prime Minister come and tour the place today. Okay. So we're going to fix it again. All right. Understand? It's like when we're back to square one again. That's
yes, man.
Look how much material plus time, everything.
Yeah.
Then we are going to the dust nuisance again. Pick up TVJ.
I hope everybody's with me now. So we're here at Roselle to look at this section of roadway. My name, however, is Dion Sampson Russell. I'm technical manager from SJE Consultants. We represent the government and their interest in this project. The project spans from Yallas Bridge to Port Antonio. We have a full team of resident engineers and supervisors who manage on behalf of the government, do the inspection and do quality control for the project. In this occasion, however, we are looking at a segment of the roadway in Roselle that had failed after the passing of Hurricane Beryl. This segment was completed. It had no issues prior to, but because there was no protection from high tides and continuous sea impact, it failed during that rain event or storm event. However, with the commitment of the team and China Harbour, we are repairing and fully replacing this section of roadway. This section is 68 meters complete and it will be reconstructed with a new rubber stone wall, rubber masonry wall to protect the roadway and all the existing infrastructure. So at this point, the contractors already started to clear the debris, remove the sections of collapsed wall, and have started excavating. This wall will be 5 meters high, deep, if you're going from road level. And then we will have at least 1.5 meters of this wall below the ground, so that we have a good foundation of protection. However, this component of the project does not include any revetment work or sea defects.
Not as a result of the construction of the road, not as a result of the contractor or any works that was done. It was a failure due to a weather event. So this section of the road was impacted by storm surges and water coming over onto the road. Now, there was an existing wall in place. So when we were building the road, there was no need to interfere with the existing wall that was in place. But the hurricane damaged the wall. In fact, it totally destroyed the wall and came in onto the road. So this is not a defect of the contractor. This is something now that the government will have to pursue as supplementary work, meaning we will have to have an additional budget because of the hurricane to put in a seawall. The seawall is not the final or even the most effective defense. You may have to do other revetment works and probably other forms of protection, which is very expensive. In fact, can be up to 2 or 3 times more expensive than the actual roadway itself. The real solution to this problem is to realign the road, to move the road from the coast. Now, we have taken a decision in the construction of our new infrastructure that as much as possible we're going to move our roads inland and change the alignments away from the sea or waterways. Now that has to be done over the long term. This is not something that we can do today or tomorrow as we go to reconstruct. So as I'm standing here, I'm saying to Jamaica that this beautiful project, which we took a decision to make this massive investment in, was done because we wanted to support the existing residents, communities, and commerce. Because think about it, if we had moved the road internally, then essentially what would happen is that the communities that exist along this pathway would eventually die off, as the traffic that is passing through would choose to use the better road and not use this road. What we want to do is to encourage the development of the area. And so we took a decision to keep the existing alignment and to repair it. But that adds great complications. It adds complications as it relates to the inconvenience of the people who live in the area and have to use the road while the road is being repaired. Then there is the complication of building on areas that are not the best areas to put the infrastructure. When these roads were being considered and built hundreds of years ago, there was no consideration about climate change. There was no consideration about the heavy usage and the kinds of trucks that would be using the road. Now we have to think about those things. And the truth is, this alignment is not the best alignment. Some of these areas cannot be defended. No matter how many millions of dollars you invest in seawalls and other protection, you know, heavy category 5 storm could easily just erode and destroy that. We have seen that happen in Montego Bay, where we had serious wind that just totally destroyed the seawall and other protections that were there. So in the long term, and not too far away actually, the government will be building another road but more inland. And the purpose of that is to create new communities along those roads. So we have actually started with the development and the identification of lands, the acquisition of lands for the Port Antonio bypass. So we're going to do the Port Antonio bypass, and then over time connect that bypass with a road that is more inland that will lead us now to be connected to the section from Harborview to Yallas. So we'll still have this road, it will still be in good condition.
Come from?
My name is Miss Greenleaf. I'm from Cedar Valley. Cedar Valley Division.
Okay. You know, we're here, the Prime Minister is touring the area because some of the road work wasn't done properly. How you feel about that?
Well, we're glad for the road, but the contractor them don't interact with the community who live in the community. And if you say a thing wrong and that tell them, they don't listen to you. Because in Cedar Valley, we are a water area. And the drain them, they don't use the whole drain them. They only make the sidewalk. And below the Cedar Valley Primary School, there are 3 culverts. And the 3 are black. They don't open them. And when the rain fall the other day, the whole of the water take the road. The asphalt right now, if you go up there, you can see it a pulp. You can see where the asphalt, it start to rise. And from the beginning, we tell them that the asphalt is too thin. And them said no. They don't listen, the contractor don't listen to the people that live in the community.
How important do you think it is that they have meetings with them? Because you guys know what are some of the areas are. Yeah.
That is the thing. The first they have. The first when the MP come with them at the school, they said they would have meeting every 3 months. And the one meeting until was over 2 years, no other meeting, they don't come and keep with the community. So in a daily basis, they on the road and you talk, them don't listen to the community people. And the road don't do good. For the road, because going to Marant Bay, it is us. But otherwise, it don't do good.
Afternoon, everybody. We're again on South Coast Highway Improvement Project on what we call Package 6. This one is from Arcadia to Amity Wheelersfield, or what we call commonly known as Amity Hall. In this section of the road where we're putting in, as you can see here, just behind you, Prime Minister, water lines, as well as embankment works and so on. We drainage infrastructure as well is new here. So we are moving ahead with this section of the package. The contractor is hoping to finish everything on Tranche 3 by the end of December. Hopefully in the new year. We don't want to disrupt Christmas too much. So the work is progressing steadily on this side of the corridor.
Very good.
Manager.
The South Coast Road Improvement Project is arguably the largest road infrastructure project undertaken by the government of Jamaica. The project is divided into 2. Part 1 deals with the extension of the East-West Highway from Maypen to Williamsfield, and that is complete. It's a wonderful piece of infrastructure. Jamaica is the better for it. The second part of the project is 147 kilometers of roadway starting from Harborview and ending up all the way into Port Antonio. We have done long roadways before. We have done the North-South Highway, but that was about 100 kilometers, if that much. But it has never been the case that we have done that extent of infrastructure on existing roadways. And I think that point needs to be stressed to the Jamaican public. It's an entirely different level of work when you're building road infrastructure on a greenfield, meaning lands that are virgin territory. Because when you're building on a greenfield, um, on greenfield lands, you can choose the areas that you're going to build on. So you can choose to build on areas that will economize on the costs that you will have to incur. You don't have to contend with persons using the road while it is being built, so the inconvenience factor is less. And you can work at any hour you want. You can work at night, you can work at day, you can choose. What we have decided to do on this part of the South Coast Road Improvement Project is to work on the existing corridor. The existing corridor has several communities, town centers, businesses, residents that are immediately in the curtilage of the road. And that adds great complexity. For one, you have to maintain access to the infrastructure. So people have to be able to use the infrastructure while you're building. Secondly, you have to keep the utilities going while you're building. You have to keep water going. You have to keep the internet and the electricity going. So it adds multiple degrees of complexity to the project. And then there is the inconvenience factor, the dust nuisance and the noise nuisance and the disruption of people's business and routines. So the challenge for the government is to build the road, which is not just putting on asphalt. Now, when we say we're building a road, we are putting in water mains, and not just small water mains, serious water mains. As you can see here, we're putting in water mains that are going to be connecting water supply from Harborview going all the way back to Port Antonio. And it is not just the water main. We are putting in fiber optic cables. All the telephone, all the electrical wires and electrical lines, those are being upgraded. So it is an entire infrastructure investment. It is the utilities, it is the roadway, but for this area, and most important, it is the drainage. So we have put in massive drains and culverts, and in addition to that, retaining walls and seawalls. So I'm saying all of this for the public to appreciate the magnitude of work that is happening. This project is not complete. The thinking is that at the completion of the project, there will be weighing areas at strategic locations. And so as soon as we are at completion, you will start to see investments in scales. But because the road, because the road's just not yet complete. So one of the issues that you face with this project is that we have to design the road for the expected usage. So you're getting a road that is going to be designed in particular areas to carry the load that it is now carrying. Bear in mind, however, that there is scarcely any road that you can design for overweight trucks that improperly use the road. And that is why we're going to put in the scale. Now, once the road is complete and you can have the legal definition, because if you are weighed and found wanting, then under law, certain penalties will chip in. And that is why you have to have the road complete so you can have the established areas and the established penalties. So let's complete the road. We will know what the design limits are for the road and the weight limit. And then if that is breached, then we can effect penalties under law. And that's why I'm saying when we design the road, we are designing it in mind for a certain weight and for us to be able to put in the scales to penalize persons who breach those road limits.
I have one more question. Another road we're out here. As it relates to consultation, what extent are the contractors obligated to have meetings on a regular basis, on a quarterly basis, monthly basis? Because the reports that we keep on getting is that the engineers or whoever, they're not listening to us. Yes, we understand the residents aren't engineers, but living in the area for years and they understand where some of the problems are. Are there meetings being held with the community on a regular basis?
I'll ask Varden to answer that.
We have had meetings with the community, especially when we were starting up, particularly this particular tranche, which had these 5 packages here. We came out and we had meetings. We hear the concerns, we brief the communities as to what is happening, and we have also provided the communication line. So anyone has any concerns, the National Works Agency can be contacted. The numbers are there and we can provide it again. Our consultants are on site with their section engineers and personnel who are available to hear the grouse. You will always, however, find that there is that clash between, as Prime Minister said, doing the construction within what we call a brownfield area, where people live and have to exist and continue to move around. There will always be that conflict because persons probably feel their driveway may be cut off. They are wondering who should they talk to. It's reasonable concern. What we want to reiterate is that the Works Agency is available. If we are not there, you can contact us. Our telephone numbers are well available. Or if not, then our consultants are available. So anybody has any concerns, we are available and we will come and address it. Okay?
Final question. You mentioned about weight. Islington Bridge.
No, man. Let's
limit at 10 tons.
Let's keep it. I couldn't tell you about Islington Bridge right now. I would have to go and read. Unless any of the...
We know that there are restrictions on a number of bridges island-wide. You can appreciate that we put the weight limit as advisory to persons, but we can't have scales and policing all the locations at all the time. So there is some inherent trust that has to be there that persons have to understand and responsibility. I'm just saying if we have 50 bridges across the island out of the 860 that the NAA manages, if let's say 50 bridges have weight restrictions, you can appreciate that we can't have 50 scales at all the locations and have police personnel standing there to get persons to comply. So I'm just saying that what we have to do is put the notices, advise the public, and try to enforce as much as is possible. But there are weight restrictions and persons are expected to follow those. Just like we have speed limit for their own safety. Just like we have speed limit.
Look, we can't have too many consultations. I think we have to, as much as possible, be open and accessible to the public. This is new to this area, this kind of construction work. And the citizen engineer, the member of the public that has some basic understanding by virtue of their experience about issues, for example, of water courses, waterways, areas that flood over time. This is very important for the technical persons to have that kind of knowledge from the community. And we should facilitate that as much as possible so that gets integrated into the engineering solutions that are proposed. So we will continue to be open and available. Citizens are going to be disgruntled because the responses may not come on as timely a fashion. But I think we have gone through the worst. I think the public would have appreciate the work that they are seeing, but they should understand that the work is not complete. We are still in construction phase, and any defects that occur will be addressed.
Thank you very much.
You can have them lift up the...
So I'm here.
Hold them first. Hold them first. Every can come. Our vehicle go cross first, so